Hi, this is Sanjay Gangal from EDA Cafe. I'm here with Klaas Morrow, CEO of ZeroPoint Technologies. Hello, Klaas.
Hello, Sanjay. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Klaas. Tell us about ZeroPoint Technologies.
ZeroPoint Technologies is a research company sprung out of Chalmers Technology University in Gothenburg, Sweden. And it's originating from Professor Per Stenström's research in the area of data compression. He has been spending quite substantial research in this domain. And then in 2016, he and his PhD student, Angelos Aroulakis, founded this company, ZeroPoint Technology, with the vision to make use out of the immense amount of unused main memory out in the market. We have concluded that more than 70% of the main memory content is redundant. So this gives a huge opportunity to compress data. And when you compress the data, you gain two benefits. One is that you increase the memory bandwidth, and the other is that you gain memory capacity. And we all know that most applications today are limited or in some way constrained by memory bandwidth or memory capacity. So what we bring to the market is an innovative solution that can plug in to almost all DRAM controllers in the SoCs, and in doing so, provide either increased memory bandwidth with up to 30 to 40%, or increased memory capacity with 2 to 3 times. And this results in a more performance effective system, and most importantly, possibly a very much energy efficient system.
How do you do that?
Well, what we do is that we work on very small amounts of data, and that's actually one of our patented innovative solutions. We can work on as small data sets as a cache line. We compress the data, but compression is not everything. Once you have compressed the data, you must also compact it to make use of or actually create free space in the memory. And once you put that data out on the memory, you also need to keep track of where you put the data so that the operating system doesn't need to bother about that. So what we do is compression in real time, compaction in real time, and then memory management in real time. And this is the compressed managed memory that we are promoting to the industry today. And the main customers that we see are the server segments, like the server CPUs, and then also the smart devices like the smartphones and the portable tablets and the portable laptops and so on. We see more and more that there is no big distinguishment between the cell phones and the portable computers today. They are all capable computers with good visual devices.
So I'm assuming, so this is an IP block that somebody can plug into their SoC design during the design process. Is this IP block a soft IP or hard IP?
We provide it as a soft encrypted IP in encrypted RTL code, and it comes together with a software driver, because what happens is that the operating system needs to not know about this IP. To them, it is as any processor and any memory system as it could be. So what we do is that we plug into the memory control driver, and we hide the memory management of the memory handling that we are doing with our IP. So we are delivering an IP that is plugged into the DRAM controller.
And do you have some control points as well to say how much compression somebody may want? Because I'm sure there must be a speed trade-off, so a designer can decide or can configure your system for different levels of compression and for different sizes of memory?
That is really good question, Sanjay, because we need to be clear here. What we are operating on is a lossless compression technology. And in doing so, we also know that different data sets perform differently well when it comes to compressibility. So we compress based on a set of parameters, and these parameters are tuned in real time. So not only do we have the compression, the compaction and the memory management, but we also have a real-time analysis engine. So this real-time analysis engine is actually analyzing the data compressibility. And based on how well it performs at the moment, it may actually tune the parameters in real time. And this is also hidden to the operating system and something that the user doesn't need to bother about. It is something that is hidden under the hood. And that is also one of the reasons that we need both a hardware part and a software part. So partly of this real-time tuning is done slowly in the software and fast in the hardware. And then you have the interface to the memory management part. So back to your question, is there something that the user actually need to bother about or set parameters? No, not really. But what we do is that we realize that the applications for a server CPU versus a mobile application is very different. So what we have are a set of parameters, so we can tune buffers and some parameters to make sure that it is optimum for the application.
And is your IP available or has already been designed in to anything commercially available now?
It is not designed in yet in any commercially available, but we are in contract with one customer to design in, and we have one contract in discussion, and we are ready to deliver early next year for the first product.
Okay, and does your IP also come with any testing vectors or test methodology as well?
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is of course something that people are a bit concerned about. You realize that if you compress the data, it's similar to encrypt the data, which means that you cannot read directly from the memory. But very few actually read directly from the memory today. They read from the CPU over the memory controller, and that means that you will actually get the data in the uncompressed form once you're reading it. So we provide the methods and the tools required to do the analysis and the bring up of the system, and of course with test vectors and test benches for integration and to be able to get acquainted to the system.
And ZeroPoint Technology raised 2.5 million euros in seed funding. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we have raised seed funding in several rounds since 2016. I joined the company 2019, so as a few of the seed fundings happened before I joined the company. But we have raised money over these several years. But this time it was really good and really interesting because we managed to bring one new investor on board, a Swedish governmental innovation venture fund called Industrifonden. And that is a really good partner to us. They are long-term investing, and they are also investing in deep tech and technology that is good for environment. And that is exactly what we are into. We are deep tech and we are good for the environment, because if you are looking into data centers, for example, both the capex to invest is a huge part, the servers, and a huge part of the servers is the memory. So 30% of the servers is the memory. So if you could cut that cost in half, you would have severe or significant savings to be made, or you could get significant additional memory capacity available. And the other is the operating expense, the energy required to drive the servers, but also to cool the servers. And in having a more efficient use of the memories, we can make sure that the performance per watt is significantly improved to what they would have been otherwise. And that is why we say that we are actually an environmental company as well. So we are good for the environment and good for the money for investment.
Great, great. And what is the best way for our audience to find out more about ZeroPoint Technologies on the internet?
We have a webpage, www.cptcorp.com. There you can find out all about the technology, and you can also read the white paper about the technology, and you can find contact details to me, and I'd be happy to get onto a call and tell you more about it.
Okay, and is it okay, Klaus, if I ask you a couple of personal questions?
Absolutely, go ahead.
So what do you do for fun outside work, or what is your personal passion?
Well, It has been vacation quite recently in Sweden, and I love to go out with my boat, sailing boat. So we have a wonderful archipelago outside Gothenburg. So that's one thing I like to do in the summer. And as you know, Sweden, we do get snow here as well. So in the winter time, there is no good season for sailing, and then I like to go skiing instead. And then we have good outdoor activities for that.
Yeah. And what type of sailboat do you have?
Well, it's a German build. It's called Hanse 348. It's a 35 feet sailing boat, and quite modern. It's interesting what they've done recently when it comes to sailboat design. Really comfortable, a really good sailor.
And you know how to operate the sails and do all the tacking and all the fun stuff?
I do. I actually been sailing for quite some years, but this boat is good in many ways. But one is that I can actually sail it by myself. It's not that I'm going on vacation by myself, but the family is not always the best crew. And then it's good that I can actually operate it by myself when I need to. So it's a really comfortable and well-equipped boat in that way.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what are your favorite skiing destinations?
Well, we have I should have said Sweden, but I can't actually, because when I don't want to go that far, I go to Norway. Norway have fantastic skiing resorts and really good mountains. And if I go a bit further, I like to go to Italy, the Dolomites. It is almost every time I've been there, it's been sunny, good snow, and good food. So it's a good vacation.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. I would love to go there too.
Yeah.
So Klaus, can you also tell us something about yourself that most people at ZeroPoint Technologies who work with you don't know about you?
Oh, my colleagues don't know about me. Well, since I have only been there since 2019 and it's been COVID most of the time, more or less, they don't know that I'm a quite good chef. Because usually I bring home people that I work with and cook food together because I love to do that together with my colleagues. So they haven't had the opportunity to find that out yet. So I hope that we will have that, because we're actually opening up Sweden the 1st of October in a couple of days. So then perhaps I can bring home my staff and do some cooking.
And what is the signature dish, your favorite dish that you're proud of?
Well, that was a good question. I'm very experimental, so I'm not going back so much to what I'm doing before. So I'm trying to find new dishes, but I like to do, we have shellfish in Sweden that is very good. And that is, of course, really nice. So shellfish and fish, because you live on the West Coast, we have really, really good fresh fish, sort of like in San Francisco. But that would, of course, be nice. Yeah, I think I'll stick to the seafood.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Klaus, for taking time to record this interview. Have a great day and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Sanjay, for having me.
This is Sanjay Gangal from EDA Cafe.